Hey everybody, thanks for showing up on this wonderful little manic Monday that we've been having. This is no reflection of a schedule change or anything. This is actually making up for the missed stream on Saturday that real life circumstances took hold and forced me to have to postpone and delay it. So I apologize to you guys about that. Yeah, we've got a lot of good info coming in today for this roadmap, and it was kind of a blessing in disguise that Saturday got jumbled as it was, because I was actually able to get a little bit more clarification on some other points. So it was good that we were able to postpone until today. So I got some additional tweaks made for my notes and everybody. So let's dive into the announcements. I've got some announcements to make. So last week we got our first looks at the combat bots. Tyrannotron and Scorpiolator. Their artwork came out in the newsletter, which I updated on my data sheets and such. There's still some tweaks to be made. We've got some adjustments to be made to those as per plate test right now. So that'll be fun and interesting. And one of the things I want to clarify is the roadmap image that, as you see it, is currently the order in which things are going to be released. At least that was how it was clarified to me on the stream and on the Twitch aspect of things. A lot of questions were asked during that about how we're going to implement the primes. Are there going to be more elementals? Because right now we've got a healing one, a damage one, and an elemental one. Are we going to do one that's like ranged, or a ranged prime? There are currently, as it stands, no plans for a ranged prime, but that is subject to change as well. There's a lot of players are also asking, adding Prime Spark to the Shannick store or to a Prime store. I think it should go to the Shannick store. We don't need another store in game. Fabian kind of confirmed that there is the potential for that. So that's really, really good to hear that we may get some way of getting Prime Spark and artifact shards other than events. What currencies they're going to use, we haven't quite figured that out yet, or have been notified of yet. So things are still kind of, I don't want to say speculative, but nothing's really been hard driven or hard confirmed yet. So just wanted to state that. And again, I want to thank you guys for showing up on a Monday. It wasn't a great weekend in a lot of regards all the way around for everybody. So special thanks to, like Trax. I got my brother from another Matrix here, Freesius. He showed up. Thank you for coming on, bro. Really appreciate that. Trax is throwing some digs out there about finally somebody throwing, streaming on YouTube, and that was a big bone of a contention this weekend. That the team went via Twitch and not YouTube, or hasn't posted their YouTube copy of it yet. So I don't know. We've got Twilight Tier on here. We got. I just mentioned Trax. Rushy Mind's here. We got another content creator and another good friend of mine. It's your boy Soul. How you doing, bro? Glad to see that you came on here. We got Patrick Bateman. We got Fireclaw and Soundwave. These are two guys that help me manage my data sheets and the information on them. So they've been doing a really, really great job in that. And we just made a couple of updates to show the subclasses, and by that I mean like special ranged, special melee, whether a bot is a scout like Scavenger, Black Arachnia, Bombshell, Perceptor, those types that were originally classified as scouts in the scout class and still have that functionality. So that was great. I see Cheeto's on here. That's awesome to have. I love this guy. He's a pain in my ass some days, but I still love the guy. He's awesome. So yeah, thanks again. Thanks everybody for one, the really short notice on coming onto the stream, and two, for showing up. I really appreciate it. So I really do. So let's dive into some of this, and keep in mind I may or may not be able to answer all of your questions regarding the roadmap and the primes and the prime power and stuff. But I do have footage of the actual Twitch stream, so if you guys have seen the Twitch stream, don't spoil it. I've muted all the sound and overlap that the guys were talking on it, so that we can discuss it a little bit more in detail. And without further ado, let's jump into that. So Primes 2.0. We've got a ETA of 3 to 4 weeks, which means that it will be coming to playtest sometime this week. So the playtesters in the chat, I know you guys are itching for not only the final adjustments to Tyrannotron and Scorpulator, but also the new Prime stuff. So we're looking forward to that. There's been some mechanics changes. Medics will now be able to heal primes, which is going to be a huge help in battles. Maybe actually give primes some value rather than being an NPC. Buffs from combats and other bots will not apply to primes. So that means like bots like Motormaster and Rodimus Prime, or Rodcron, or Tarn and Alpha Trion, those buffs will not apply to the primes. So keep that in mind while you guys are strategizing that when they're coming down the line here. Kind of went back and forth, but got kind of a semi-solid answer that Optimus Prime and Megatron's rush ability will work on the primes, so the primes will respond to these. There's not going to be any shields applied to the primes, so like if your Titan dies or your Combiner dies or whatever, and they have an after effect with shields, or even some bots that extend shields, the shields will not apply to the primes. They will still, gather their own ability points by destroying buildings, very similarly how they do now, but as you'll see in a few minutes, from the replay and the footage that I've got, we'll be able to show you how that's going to work. Their range for their ability casting is not going to change. So, like I said, these are like mechanics adjustments, and I feel that these should have kind of happened the first time around, and I think part of my feedback to Cube, to Calum, to Fabian, a couple of the other guys, and I know Calum's been a poor wore out freaking messenger with all this feedback and stuff. I think they finally it soaked in, and they took it to heart. And then of course, since the primes will still be gathering ability points, their ability will be able to be used. I don't think it's going to be spammable like a lot of players are hoping. It's probably going to be once or twice during the battle, probably twice at max, maybe if you're lucky 3 times, depending on how clustered or how the base is laid out. But during our testing that we saw on the stream, we got a max of 2 times out of it too. So we'll see how that goes. No, Freezius, I don't have a do-rag on. I know it looks like one, but it's actually a flex fit hat, and I generally wear them backwards because my hair's getting longer again, so I want my neck and my hair covered. But no, it's not a do-rag, bro. It just keeps my hair from going wild. Fabius Malice, thanks for joining, and welcome to the stream. And Cheeto is saying, with no shielding, the medic will probably constantly chase the prime. That is possible. That is potentially possible. But let me show you what we've got in the replay going on here, guys. It's probably going to be hard for some of you to see that are on the move or aren't able to focus on it too much. But the Primes 2.0, they do kind of get deployed like a regular bot now, and you will be able to see their abilities. You know, they'll have the Dark Flame and their Requiem Blaster or their Artifact if it's equipped. So that'll be a nice little update. So it'll show you just like you have a combat bot or anything like that engaged. So it'll be like looking at a regular bot in a lot of regards. So that's kind of fun in that and I'm kind of liking that. Now keep in mind, I'm not controlling this feedback. This playback. This was the playback that came in from the Twitch stream that they showed near the end of it. So I've got nothing really to control about this. I'm not toggling anything. This is playback from the video. So hopefully, you guys will be able to see it a little bit better or in playback or reviewing it and stuff. Also, don't forget to check out my fun little ads below. There's a couple of new ones in there. But but as you'll see, you go through, you play like you normally do, and collect those ability points for both your bot and your prime, and it charges up your prime to reuse their ability, which, like I said originally, I think that's how primes should have been originally from the start. But I'm glad that the team took that feedback, the feedback from all the players, not just from me or Waza or anybody, but from everybody, and realized that, this change kind of had to be made. It's a little tough. I'm not gonna lie, Cheeto. I tried to do my best to size it up for the video, and you're probably on your phone, so it's probably super small right now. and Fireclaw said exactly what I was gonna say. It's time for you to get some glasses. But yeah, as you guys can see from the replay, you're able to reuse the Prime's ability, which is nice. Their casting range hasn't changed. So that's overall some improvements, some nice mechanical tweaks to the Primes, which really, really I feel needed to be done and really needed to be made they really should have happened from the start. They should have been done this way, in my opinion. I get where they were going with it initially, but honestly, this way is, I think, going to make a lot of players feel that they have a little bit more value on the battlefield. And yeah, like Fabius Malice just said, make them... There we go. It's back. Wow. Sorry about that, guys. My OSB locked up for some reason, and I think I know why, because I'm also doing a reformat of a drive at the same time. But, so, sorry about that. That's on me. But it wouldn't be a CFTactics stream without a technical bug, right? Okay. So total prime power. we don't have a solidified ETA for this. Excuse me. Let me grab a drink real quick. We don't have a solidified ETA yet. This will come out after Primes 2.0. I had asked if we were going to be able to have mix and match artifacts, across the primes. There is a possibility for that, but it's not in the current scope of things. The max total prime power is going to be about a 30% difference, and that's going to affect health and the DPS. It's gonna be a long, hard road to max out the total prime power tree, which I'm gonna show you here in a little bit. And why I'm saying that is because this power tree is going to this power tree. Thanks, Fireclaw. Yeah, it would not be a CFTactics thing without a glitch going on. But no, this power tree is going to apply to all the primes. So targeting and working on one prime is not going to be an ideal way to improve this, because this total prime power is going to affect all primes across the board. There are going to be major and minor upgrades, and I'll show you that here in a minute, because we got a long aspect of this to go through. And there's going to be certain locked in milestones, and those milestones are going to be about 500 to 550 prime points each. Prime points are gonna kind of act like how the Titan Spark is acting now, where you do battles, you deploy your prime, you get prime points. That's the theory anyway. But we'll see how it'll work as this gets developed. This prime power tree will include like immunities, and it will include resistances. So we may have immunities to like hacking, or resistance to fire or acid or something. It hasn't been completely mapped out yet, but it's in development. It's going to be coming sometime after Primes 2.0 in a couple of weeks. And as I stated before, this affects all the primes. So it's not just going to be you're focusing on Megatronus, or focusing on Prima, or focusing on Solus. This is going to affect all the primes. So it's going to offer benefits all the way around. And one of the biggest questions we had on the stream about this was, how is this going to affect with our current primes? How we've invested, artifact shards and Cybertronian alloy and levels and ranks and primes. And the current way that it is will be counted towards the total prime power. Now again, as with everything, information is subject to change as it develops, and of course, I myself I want to say Freezius, but I know he's on break. Soldier, whomever, probably me, will keep you guys appraised of what's going on in that regard. So this is going to be a very interesting little dynamic. And now we're going to move over to the prime power tree and show this off. This is going to be a nice new little area in the prime lab. It's going to be up at the upper right hand corner, as you can see right above, where it says total prime power. They went with total prime power as an arbitrary term. Again, that could change, that could stay. Not really sure, but this is going to be part of you're going to have to access this through your prime lab. And it'll show you what points you have accumulated and where you're going to be able to implement them. And that it's not precisely done up like the Titan Tech tree. I'm gonna, while I got this screen up, as most of you are aware, the Titan Tech tree applies to one Titan, but an aspect of that, defense, offense, Titan perks, and then you've got each column that is for each Titan. That's not going to happen in this case. So if you come in through Megatronus or Solus or whatever, you're going to get a map like what you're seeing on the screen now. And all of these are going to have different perks, different milestones. The milestones are the larger icons, like you see here. It's a star, so that's going to be a major milestone. The minor ones are the little ones that are going down through this map. So this map is going to be have a nice little tally of what health perks you have in place. Cost reduction or deployment costs. Perks you have in place, any damage perks you may have, special ability damage perks, prime XP bonuses. So yeah, they're trying to make this a little bit of a hybrid of like the Titans and bots. So it's going to be that way, so that primes kind of act on their own. And you're going to get a nice little breakdown in the column here of which ones, what your bonus levels are currently at, and from what I recall in the video, these will stack upon each other. So if you unlock one health perk, you'll get another health perk, and they'll move on down the line that way, which is one thing that I really, really like in that regard. So that's really a cool feature, in my opinion, is that these will stack, these will move up and increase as you move on down the tree. So yeah, there's going to be a lot of perks. There's going to be a lot of roadway here. As it was kind of broached, like I said briefly on the Twitch stream, they're going to expand this map out, as you'll see now as it's going through. You'll get health boosts, and these prime points theoretically at the moment are going to accumulate when you deploy your prime in battle. Very similar to like how you got Titan XP right now. That's why I say it's kind of like a mishmash of the two, of regular bots and Titans in that regard, for clarification. And we got Maddie that joined the chat. Hey Maddie, glad to see you. Hey Mystics, glad to see that you came on. We got Tyler Flippo, he came on. Thanks guys for showing up. I'm just rolling back through the chat right now, letting the playback from the stream go on here. So I'm just looking over, and I'll be announcing people. Hey Patrick, aka Megatron, he's here. Hey Dave, glad to see you. Glad that you could make it. Like I said, sorry about the short notice on the stream. It was just, I had this all set up, and it was just probably easier to do it as a stream. But yeah, so as you guys are seeing, you'll have like a disable immunity from this. That's part of the immunities we were talking about. So your primes can benefit from not getting stunned or disabled from electrical damage, that type of thing. So there's a lot of fun, interesting perks that are going to be available for these primes through this total prime power. This is going to be an interesting way to really build out your primes. And I can't emphasize this enough. This applies to all the primes. This isn't just going to be for Solus or Megatronus or Prima or Onyx or Alchemist. And don't read into that, guys. I'm just randomly naming primes. There's obviously we're going to get the 12 primes in game eventually, but I don't know who's coming next or what's next down the line. I don't think it's going to lag out too bad, Tracks. He said, I wonder how much more this new map will lag out and crash the game. Hopefully it won't be too much. I know that on the Twitch stream it did kind of crash. It was kind of fun to watch. Um, but you'll see as it's moving along now. You'll get um, various different perks. It's kind of like a bonus system or a build out. So it's not going to be a specifically, oh hey, how am I going to build out my Solus Prime or anything like this. It's going to encompass all the primes. So that'll be interesting to see. And again, that could change. They could make it per prime, but gosh, I hope they don't, because that could be a headache, especially when people are asking, "Oh, hey, how should I build out my Megatronus?" Don't encourage that. I hope that I hope that it just stays all encompassing as an umbrella in that regard. Let's see. Megatron says, I really got to start being a regular or else I'm going to lose my grip over these new mechanics. That's one reason why I make mechanics part of my channel. A lot of people don't. And I'm not faulting anyone. This is kind of my wheelhouse. I'm good at game mechanics. I was a mechanic in my life, so I like to address these where I see them coming up. And let's see. Well, Trax, I think that's just Twilight messing with you on the wars, buddy. I really do. I think that's just him breaking your game for you. But sorry to hear that you got a work call, Cheeto. Come back, please. But yeah, so this total prime power stuff, it's going to be an interesting dynamic, and it's going to be going through refinement, and it's going to be a long roadmap, as you can see. So, it's going to be a whole lot of stuff going down the line, and there's going to be some incentives for a lot of players on this, and there's going to be a lot of incentives that aren't going to be all that appealing to other players. But that's like it is on any part of the game. It just happens to work out that way. Yes, Maddie. And I said that previously, but I don't mind going over that. Yeah, the prime boosts are only for the primes, so it's not gonna work like the Titan. Well, the Titan perks are per Titan, but in this regard, it's not like the Titan tech tree. The Titan tech tree, you've got three parts to it. You've got defense, you've got attack, and then you've got the Titan perks, and that's broken down by each Titan. In this case, for the primes, it's going to be all-encompassing umbrella covering all the primes. So as you work with your primes and get them implemented in game, and more primes get added, and you get them all leveled up, you'll probably be earning more prime power points to redeem for the total prime power tree. And now on to another part that everybody's been asking about and wanting to hear about is going to be the HQ-19. Okay. They really didn't broach much on HQ-19 in this stream, which is probably the number one thing that people came onto the Twitch stream for. And Maddie, I'm always welcome to clarify or go over something, so don't worry about that. There isn't a hard ETA for HQ-19, but they are looking for either between summer and autumn. A couple of the devs on the Twitch stream said probably closer to end of year. So I'll say between summer and the end of the year for HQ-19. We learned that It's not going to be. It's not going to come out until after the total prime power has been deployed and put out to everybody. So this could be a key point in understanding why HQ19 has been taking so long. There, with all these new features, with the primes and now these new prime total powers and such, I think, and I am going to admit, I'm speculating here. We're going to see something, hopefully, that harnesses those in HQ19. We don't really know yet. I don't think the team really knows yet, or if they do, they're not saying out loud. They haven't done a lot of new design work yet, or updates to some of our buildings. Obviously, we're going to get a new level to all of the existing buildings. So we're going to get a hit HPS and a DPS increase for those buildings come HQ19. What that differential is going to involve, we don't know yet. It could be a standard like 17 to 18 where it was a 15% increase. It could be better than that. It could be higher than that. It could be less. We don't know yet. There is going to be a new power core rarity that's probably, as they stated, going to probably launch with HQ19. I recommended make it called Dark Energon, and that kind of went over well with both the dev team and the players that were on the Twitch stream. So we'll see if that actually happens, because I know that we would like to see some new rarity and see what it's going to encase and work with. They did softly confirm that we will be getting some new cores. They haven't said if they're going to be cores that we saw like in the Christmas battle last year or what, but we will be getting some new cores as well. And I mean, if we get the new cores along with this new rarity, I think that would be cool. They did say that we are going to get a couple of new buildings, a couple of new defenses, and which always brought up the extended aspect of, are we increasing the map size? Because everything's getting pretty clustered now. So we don't know if that's going to actually happen or not. I'm going to probably say the map's not going to get expanded yet. And I say yet because they've got some additional plans. They're going to break it out in stages, so maybe one of these stages will be a map expansion for HQ19 as well. So maybe we can see what's going to go on with that. And Maddie, that's exactly what I'm talking about right now, about the map size and the clustering of the base. There is a possibility of getting a new MDS weapon for HQ19. Don't know what that's going to be, because they didn't broach too much with it. They pretty much are leaving this dangling, leaving the suspicion and intense stuff here. But what we know is what I have up on the screen right now. They are hoping to launch it later this year, so we have the timeline, like I said, between summer and end of year. So that's a big time frame. But we may get some good stuff out of it. The current scope with it is it's going to be launched in phases like HQ17 and HQ18 were. I'm not opposed to that. Just we don't need 8 months between stages either. It would be good to get them fairly regular. Not. I don't want HQ19 all at once either, because that could be over daunting and really cause some stress that way. But but Trax, we mentioned it. They didn't turn it down. They didn't say no to the idea of a map expansion. They just said possibly not. So That could not happen. But yeah, so I mean, this has been interesting. We didn't get too much into the alliance stuff. They are talking about a war rehab for both prizes and possibly a new war league, or at least a refinement to the leagues. So we'll have to see what that will entail. There were a lot of ideas thrown out about a Unicron community event, where the entire community fights against Unicron or something. Yeah, Freeze, they really did feel a little iffy when asked about it at the end of the year. It could be late, it could not be. We gotta realize that, and I know Freeze, you understand this, but I'm meaning for the other players, and I know Trax knows this as well, and such. We get to go through some of these. We only get about a week to test out these features, give them a run through, send them feedback, and then they come back to us and say, okay, hey, we took your feedback, and they give us an itemized list, or they give us a quick summation of what they changed based upon our feedback, and then they deploy it. And then, they then, after getting the players' feedback, once it's gone live and stuff, then they make additional adjustments, additional tweaks, despite the fact that sometimes, a lot of the time, a lot of we said exactly what the community's going to want, because we're slightly more in touch with the community than they are. So I can understand why they're a little bit hesitant about putting hard deadlines on these things, because they're going to have to come back, address bugs, address things that didn't happen in the playtest server that are going to happen on the live server. We've seen it time and time again. It's not going to be a full and fun, steady rollout. It's gonna have some. There's going to be refinements and fine tuning as it comes out to the community, and more people play with it and send in their gripes and send in their praise, one way or the other. We all know that people on the Discord server love to bitch more than they compliment, like Trax just said, and is kind of reiterating what I said there. Yeah, they take the PT feedback, and then they tell you that we're wrong. Sometimes they do. They have done that to us, or they don't know what we're talking about in some cases, and then that this whole part of it that Trax is saying, trying to benefit for ourselves. That's been a more recent feedback from some of the dev team. That we're all trying to benefit ourselves, and that's not the thing. We're actually taking it at the player level and trying to give them the feedback and experience from that player level. And there have been times, yes, that they have come back and said, oh no, you guys are just trying to do this to benefit for yourselves. Why would we do that? That's what we have the playtest request channel for. That's how we benefit ourselves, is we get all we want from the freebies and stuff in that regard. But yeah, there's been ideas throwing around on both the Discord server, as well as they mentioned some things that are going to be changing with the alliances. They kept it kind of vague. Don't know if that's going to mean better alliance management, support for family alliances. We don't know yet, but hopefully we'll get some clarification on later down in the year. But that's one of the things that I know everybody. Those are a number of things that a lot of us have been really concerned about. So And let's see what's going on in the chat. Maddie, how could he? That playtest server is a safe place. It can be sometimes. It can be a hellhole too some days too. Let's see. Freezia says HQ upgrades is one of the piece of content that typically takes the longest. Typically they get it right though. Yes, I do have to agree with this. HQ level rollouts, and this started back with HQ 17, you know, when we got the new buildings and the new resources and stuff. They staggered it out. They rolled it out. They did have a good paradigm in that. And I would really like to see that continue for HQ 19. Like I said, I'm not asking for everything of HQ 19 all at once. But I know a lot of people, a lot of players, if all you're getting are new walls and new building levels and this type of thing, they're going to be slightly disappointed when it comes to the HQ 19 update. So there's got to be something a little bit more available when it launches. And I totally get it. Where a lot of the players are coming from, I get where the devs are coming from, I get where the playtesters are coming from. You know, but I think when they launch HQ 19, we're not gonna be disappointed. I'm double crossing my fingers on that. You know, because a lot of the rollouts, 17, 18.2, 18.3, were kind of a little bit of a letdown. But as you got there, as players got there and maxed out their new levels and stuff, they saw the promise in it. So I'm hoping that'll stick too, Freeze. I really do. And Trax. Oh, Trax is going off on his ranting. Okay. Yeah, I do agree with Trax in this a lot. Of if you don't trust your playtesters, then why even have the playtest program? I do get where he's coming from in this. Especially considering that a lot of us, we do communicate with our players, not just at our level of, you know, being top tier or maxed out players, but, you know, we also talk to our mid-levels and our lower level alliance players, and we get their feedback, and then we give it to playtest. So yeah, I do get what Trax is meaning about this, but there's a little bit of context here that needs to help clarify. And Trax, you know, chime up in the chat if I'm slightly wrong in this case, please. I'm speaking from my alliance's point of view, but please, you know, chime in. But yeah, a lot of the times, playtest, the dev team and the designers on the playtest are only seeing how we're presenting it from us. It's not, and it doesn't matter if Trax says, hey, my guys over here are saying, you know, could we get some adjustments here? We can't really voice it that way because as playtesters, we're not supposed to be leaking this stuff. And we don't. I'm not implying that Trax is leaking anything or anything like that. But, you know, we do have discussions and things do and can, especially like when Waza shows off stuff, I show off stuff, when Freezies would show stuff off, you know, it would spark discussion. And so everybody from low levels to mid levels to top level players are asking us, hey, can you relay this information to the play test? And I know that in some cases, Trax has been like, stop, I'm not a fucking messenger, okay? I gotta concentrate on what we can do. I've said it myself, not so bluntly, but I'm just like, hey, it's still in process. We don't know what's gonna go on, but if we see it's going in this direction, yeah, we'll say something. And but we do try to take what we hear from the players and acknowledge that towards playtest. And a lot of times playtest can be dismissive of us. There's no argument there. It's happened to me, it's happened to Waza, it's happened to Freezius, it's happened to Trax, it's happened to Cheeto. I mean, a lot of us have a lot of good feedback. And sometimes it does just fall right. It just stops at that wall of no, we're not going to do this. No, we're not going to implement this. It's been finalized. We're not going to refine it further. Okay, cool, fine, whatever. Take this into consideration for the next new set of new content you're gonna bring in. And like Trax just said, and furthering the context, we do a lot of work. We do a lot of go back and forth. We do a lot of testing on this stuff, and a lot of them do barely give a little feedback. But we have been getting some better feedback from Amalgamous on the playtest side and stuff, you know. And yes, Trax, Cicada did have his spreadsheets, and they lost a lot of information when he quit. He did. But just keep in mind, Cicada and my information overlapped a lot. So what he had, I had. What I had, he had. But he did have a lot of good information out there. And we did a lot of co-op. Cicada, well, we also were in the same alliance. We were also play testers. So we had a lot of overlap going on with information, and we would filter it out that way. But yeah, you do make a good point. And Berserker, hey, he's another good guy that got removed from the PT because they didn't like his feedback, and that is true. But also, Berserker, at the same time, you did kind of have a meltdown on the dev team. You did go off on the dev team, of which all of us backed you up on. We were not disputing that what you weren't saying wasn't valid, but you did go off a little harsh on that. But I'm not meaning to say that you were wrong. That's not what I'm saying. But yeah, sometimes I mean, that's one of the reasons why Waza isn't on the PT channels, because they don't like his feedback sometimes either. He's still in PT, but he's not in the PT channels. But all right, I got to loop back, and I'm gonna go over all of these tweaks and announcements one more time, just to finalize and sum up. So HQ19, it's down the road a bit. It's not going to happen for any time soon, but they're hoping that it'll happen this year. Then the Primes 2.0, as we saw from the replay, has a lot of promise. Not going to lie, it does have a lot of promise. Primes 2.0 is going to be out in a few weeks. We're going to get that in playtest. We're going to rip it apart, no doubt. You know, we are probably going to rip it apart and see how it's going to work and how it's going to break and how people aren't going to like it. But we'll live with it. The total prime power, that's still in development, as I mentioned. So we're gonna have to see how that develops further after the Primes 2.0 implements and gets hit and running. So we'll have to see how that's going to happen. Obviously, it's kind of obvious at this point. HQ19 is definitely going to be affected or be directly affected by these Primes mechanics changes. That much is certainly clear. Otherwise, they would have put HQ19 at the head of the roadmap. So, you know, that's kind of a clear little tidbit there. Is these new Prime mechanics, these new Prime features, HQ19 is probably going to depend or harness some of these one way or another. And again, I'm just saying that's speculative, but given the evidence at hand, I think it's a fair and direct speculation to make. Yeah, Berserker, I'm glad that you came to the stream today. I really am. And like I said to everybody, thank you for showing up today. I know that this was supposed to happen Saturday, but it never happened because real life threw me a curveball, threw me in the misses a curveball actually. But we've got a lot of I think we've covered a lot of ground. I think overall we've had a better feedback on my stream than we did on the Twitch stream. That's just my opinion, but yeah. So we've got a lot of things going on with this, and I'm not gonna lie, I'm excited about a lot of these. I'm still hesitant on others, just because they're still being developed and drawn out and scoped out. HQ19 being one of them. The whole total Titan, or here we go. Thanks guys, you got me going on Titans now. Total prime power, so I'm hoping that we get to see some improvements there. But yeah, I mean, there is progress being made. I'm excited about a lot of it. You're welcome, Fireclaw. Go make dinner. I'm probably going to have to do the same after the stream. But yeah. I'm just glad that you guys were able to show up and contribute and send your feedback, at least to me. And obviously, the dev team, the Yodos, are definitely paying attention. I feel that my feedback from like Q a couple of weeks ago when he asked about why I felt primes weren't all that influential or that great to have, I think that definitely went back to the team, and they're just like, yeah, So yeah, I'm glad that the feedback is reaching the right ears right now. And like I said, we've also got Tyrannotron and Scorpulator coming out about it. I think it's this weekend. And I definitely would recommend. I loved play testing these guys. I'm going to close out with these combats. These are going to be high DPS bot combats. You're going to definitely want to equip them to your high DPS bots. They don't equip to air class, if I recall correctly, but I'll definitely get more information out on the combats as it gets finalized and refined. And you guys can rely on what I give you. And if it changes in between the time that I compose my next video and launch, I'll throw an update or throw an update into the data sheets. So yeah, everybody, thanks for showing up today. I know it was a big curveball to throw a stream out on a Monday and at the last minute, but I had this stuff most of it in place. It was just a couple of notes I had to tweak here and there for display. I didn't really want to redo it all just for video. So yeah, guys, thank you for showing up to the stream. Thanks for your feedback. And as always, keep up the good work in Earth Wars. I hope you guys had a fairly decent event this weekend. And as always, my friends, keep up the heroic nonsense. I'm CF. Have a good week, guys, and we'll let you know what else is going on. Have a good